Hi, my name's Andrea, and I am a registered nurse. I'm also attending WSU and finishing up my bachelor's in nursing as well. This is my last semester. I also did my clinical rotation at a diabetes education center, and today I'm going to demonstrate how you perform carbohydrate counting and diet education on patients who are diabetic. And with me today, I have Chad, who is a type 2 diabetic, and we're going to go over some basic education on carbohydrates and how to have a well-balanced meal. So, hi, Chad. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Um, Now, are you aware of what carbohydrates are?
Somewhat.
Okay. So, carbohydrates are the part of the nutrients in our diet that is turned into sugar. So, when we're eating a lot of carbohydrates, that's going to elevate our blood sugar. So, we're going to kind of talk about diet today, and we're also going to go over your diet and see if we can help bring down your blood sugar a little bit. The range that we want your fasting blood sugar is between 70 and 120, and that is where evidence shows if it's above 150 that we get into complications later on. So we're going to try to get your diet under control, have a well-balanced meal, and still be able to enjoy the food that you're eating. So, you know, like I said, carbohydrates turn into sugar, and there's three types of carbohydrates. There's the starches, there's the sugars, and there is the fiber. Now, fiber is good for you, but you also don't want to have too much of it either because there is a lot of carbohydrates in fiber. Now, fiber can be found in cereals, and it can also be found in grains. Now, there's sugars, and they are found in juices as well as fruits and table sugar, brown sugar. That's where all your sugars are found. And starches can be found in certain vegetables as well. So now, there's also other nutrients, and we'll talk about those later on down the road in different meetings, but you also have your fats and your proteins. So as far as like your daily meal planning, it's recommended that you only have about 2 to 3 servings of the non-starchy vegetables, and that would be your greens, your green beans, your cabbages, your zucchini. Those would be your non-starchy vegetables. You also want to make sure that you have 2 servings of fruits, and that would be apples and bananas. And then you want to have about 6 servings of grains, which would be black beans, rice. You know, some of your starchy vegetables can also be found in that category as well, like your corn and things like that. And then you want to have 2 servings, no more than 2 servings of your dairy, your milk, and your yogurt. And then you want to have about 6 ounces of meat. And then you want to limit your amount of fat. And your fat would be your mayonnaise and butter and things like that. So with that being said, I'd like to kind of go over what you're eating. And we can kind of break it down to see if we can find out why your blood sugars have been so high over these last few weeks. So now, for breakfast, what would you say that you have for breakfast on a normal day?
Lately it's been oatmeal on a regular basis.
Okay, so you're having oatmeal. So I have a measuring cup here, and this is a half a cup. Would you say that you're eating about this amount?
Probably double that.
Double this amount. So you're having 2 of these. So let's look at the label here. I brought some labels in with me. So now it says that a half of a cup is 27 grams of carbohydrates. So if you're eating 2 of these, this is a half of a cup right here. So if you're eating 2 of these, you're having, you know, 4 of your servings just for breakfast. So maybe what we can recommend is see if you can go to a half of a cup and also maybe add something else, maybe some protein, an egg or some egg whites or something like that. That may help to balance out your breakfast a little bit more so in the afternoon your blood sugars aren't high from all those carbohydrates you just ate. So would you be willing to try something like that out?
Sure.
Okay. Now, let's talk about what you have for lunch. What are some things that you have for lunch?
I've been kind of stuck on the Subway.
Subway. Okay. So now there's the sandwich, there's the 6-inch, and then there's the 12-inch. Do you have the 6-inch or the 12-inch?
Yeah, I've been kind of stuck on the foot
The foot long. Okay. So Now, the 6 inches of Subway sandwich, they're generally around 45 grams of carbs. So that's 3 of your servings of carbohydrates just in lunch alone. Now, you can kind of improvise a little bit and maybe remove the first half, and that will help you lose some of your carbohydrates. You're not getting all that bread that you like, and everyone likes that big, thick bread. But, it also has a lot of carbohydrates in it as well. Or you can go to a 6 inch and you're still getting your 3 servings of carbohydrates, but maybe throw in a salad or something that's not a carbohydrate, since you like your carbohydrates for breakfast as well. Um, I just suggest you do that, and that may help you to bring down your sugars as well.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
And while we're on that line, are you aware of our smartphone app? There's a smartphone app that actually, for people who are diabetic, it breaks it down and it has the list of all the restaurants, and that way because keeping track or even looking before you order makes you more aware of what you're going to eat. And knowing that, that a 6 inch is 45 grams and a 12 inch is double that, it may in your mind make you say, I don't want that many carbohydrates. I know what that's going to do to my sugar later on. So being aware of what you're eating before you order it can also help you too. So there's a lot of applications for all those smartphones out there, and then you can also keep track of your blood sugar on your smartphone as well, if that's something that you're interested in. Now let's get into snacks. What are some things that you're having for snacks?
Usually I'll have an apple or a banana. Sometimes I'll throw in a granola bar.
Okay. So, the general rule to remember is that, if it's when it comes to counting fruits, you want to use the size of your fist. So the size of your fist is generally considered 1 serving of carbohydrates. So I have an apple right here. Now this is a pretty small apple. Most of the ones in the store are quite a bit bigger, or if you go and pick them off the tree, they're quite a bit bigger as well. So this is about the size of my fist. I would say that this is about 1 serving. So this is 15 grams of carbohydrates. Now a banana, on the other hand, they can be quite a bit larger. This is a pretty standard sized banana, but it's, compared to my fist, it could be, this could be considered 2 servings of carbohydrates. So for people who really want their fruits in the morning or their banana, I suggest maybe cutting half of it, have half of it in the morning for your snack, and then maybe the other half the next day. So that may help you because you don't want to limit all the foods you like. We just want to help control your blood sugar a little bit. So maybe if we could kind of cut back a little bit, that may help you as well. Now, you also said you had a granola bar for snack.
Yeah, occasionally I'll have a oat and honey granola.
Okay. So, I have one of these oat and honey granola bars here. So do there's 2 bars in here. Do you have both of these bars?
Yeah, usually I do have to.
Okay. So 2 bars is 30 grams of carbohydrates as well. So these 2 bars is 2 servings of carbohydrates. So far I see you have a lot of carbohydrates for breakfast, for lunch, and as well for snacks. Now, if you like the granola bars, there's other options to granola bars. You can either have just half of one of those and save the other half for later, or what you can do is get a different type of granola bar. Now, here's a granola bar, and this is one granola bar is 1 serving of carbohydrates. So this is only 15 grams. So there is other options. It's just a matter of looking at the labels, deciding if it's really worth it raising your blood sugar, and being aware of what it's going to do to you later on. Now, what are some things that you would have for dinner?
Maybe a piece of steak or chicken, and I usually will have a serving of rice and roll or a piece of bread, and usually a glass of milk.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you have more of your protein involved in your dinner, but I'm not hearing any vegetables. Are you not incorporating vegetables into your meal at all?
It's kind of hit and miss.
Okay. Well, I just suggest that you do include vegetables in your meal because that is something that's going to make you feel fuller, but it also doesn't have the carbohydrates in it. So you can have several non-starchy vegetables in your meal, and it's going to make you feel fuller. So, that may be something that you need to do. Now, let's go to your steak. A rule to remember is that the palm of a woman's hand is about 3 ounces of steak. So would you say that you're eating about the palm of my hand?
I'd say probably about double.
Okay, so you're having about 6 ounces, which is your limit, and that would mean that you could have no other protein. So maybe cutting back on your meat and including more vegetables in your meal will help you have a more balanced meal. Now, you said you also had rice in your diet. Now, let's go back to my measuring cup. This is a half a cup. Would you say that you're having about this portion of rice?
Maybe double that.
Okay, so you're having double that. Now, I have a label right here, and this rice-a-roni, it says, is 50 grams of carbohydrate for a third of a cup. So it's a little over what you should be having for your, as far as for all the carbohydrates that you have. You're having 2 servings of rice, and it's just about a little less than this. So maybe cutting back on your rice, and a standard size roll is going to be 1 carbohydrate, and that's the 15 grams of carbs. And what do you have to drink with your meal?
Usually a glass of milk.
Okay. So would you say you're having about 1 cup? So this is a half a cup. Double this would be, this would be a cup of milk.
Probably 2 to 3 cups.
Okay. So 1 cup of milk is generally about 15 grams of carbohydrates. So it sounds like you're getting a lot of carbohydrates in your meals, and I think that if we can work on incorporating your vegetables into the meal and cutting back a little bit, I think we can get your blood sugar under control. Now, like I said earlier, if your blood sugar, your fasting blood sugar, they want it between 70 to 120, and that's just because evidence-based shows that if it's above 150 for an extended amount of time, it can cause complications later on in the future. So we want to try to prevent that and get your blood sugar under control. I also want to show you this. Now, this is called My Plate. Now, it was rolled out by in 2010 by the American the dietary guidelines. And this, if you can follow this plate, it's easier than doing the measurement. But if you can just keep everything within where it needs to be, this may help a little bit easier. And you can also get on the website. It gives you good meal examples. And that way, you have the resource by using your smartphone. And you also have the myplate.gov. And that will help you to try to count your carbohydrates, make it a little bit simpler for you, and we'll go from there. But let's try to get this blood sugar a little bit lower and see if it makes a change.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.